Meet Therizinosaurus. At first glance, it looked almost harmless. It had a long neck, a bulky body, and a small head that likely spent most of its time eating plants. But then you notice its hands. Each arm ended with 3 enormous claws. The largest measured over 3 feet long, longer than the claws of any known land animal. For decades, scientists had no idea what creature these giant claws belonged to when they were first discovered. Some researchers even believed they belonged to a giant prehistoric turtle. Only years later did paleontologists realize they were attached to one of the strangest dinosaurs ever discovered. So, what were these massive claws for? Scientists still debate the answer. They may have been used to pull tree branches closer while feeding, to defend against predators, or to intimidate rivals without ever needing to fight, whatever their purpose. One thing is certain, coming face to face with a dinosaur carrying 6 sword-like claws would have been a terrifying sight. Therizinosaurus proves that sometimes the strangest weapons are also the most unforgettable. Imagine trying to attack a living tank. That was the challenge predators faced when they encountered Ankylosaurus. From head to tail, its body was covered in thick bony armor. Large plates were embedded in its skin. Sharp spikes protected its sides. Even its eyelids were reinforced with bone. But its greatest weapon wasn't its armor. It was its tail. At the end hung a massive club made of solid bone, powered by powerful muscles. Ankylosaurus could swing this weapon with incredible force. Scientists believe a direct hit could shatter bones. Some studies even suggest it was strong enough to break the leg of a large predator like Tyrannosaurus rex. Imagine charging toward what looks like an easy meal, only to be struck by a giant swinging hammer. A single well-aimed blow could end the fight instantly. Unlike predators that relied on speed or sharp teeth, Ankylosaurus simply waited for its enemy to get too close. Then, it turned its greatest weakness, its slow movement, into its greatest strength. One devastating swing was often all it needed. Nature had created more than just a dinosaur. It had created one of history's greatest living fortresses. Most dinosaurs had one obvious weapon, a pair of horns, sharp teeth, or powerful claws. But Styracosaurus took things to another level. Its face looked like something designed for battle. A single long horn projected from its nose, behind its head. Its massive frill was surrounded by 6 enormous spikes, each nearly 2 feet long. Together, they formed one of the most intimidating skulls in dinosaur history. At first, scientists assumed these spikes were only for defense, and they certainly would have discouraged hungry predators. But there's another possibility. Just like modern deer lock antlers, male Styracosaurus may have used its horns to fight rivals for territory or mates. The larger and stronger the horns, the greater the chance of winning, even if battles never became deadly. The weapon itself sent a clear message: stay away. Whether facing a predator or another Styracosaurus, this dinosaur carried an entire crown of spears on its head. Sometimes, nature doesn't create a single weapon. It creates an entire arsenal. Sometimes, the strangest weapon isn't sharp. It's unbelievably huge. Meet Deinocheirus. Its name means terrible hand, and for decades, that's all scientists knew about it. In 1965, paleontologists uncovered a pair of gigantic fossilized arms. Each one stretched over 8 feet long. The hands ended in enormous curved claws. But there was one problem. The rest of the dinosaur was missing for nearly 50 years. Nobody knew what kind of creature these incredible arms belonged to. Some imagined a giant predator. Others believed it was one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs ever discovered. Then, in 2014, new fossils finally solved the mystery, instead of a terrifying carnivore. Deinocheirus turned out to be one of the weirdest dinosaurs ever found. It had a duck-like bill, a hump on its back, long, powerful arms, and giant claws unlike anything seen before. Scientists think those massive arms helped it pull down branches, dig for food, defend itself, or even intimidate rivals, whatever their exact purpose. One thing was certain: if you saw 2 giant claws reaching toward you from the forest, you wouldn't wait to find out what they were used for. Sometimes, the greatest mystery in paleontology begins with just a pair of hands. Most dinosaurs attacked with teeth or claws, but Pachycephalosaurus Pachycephalosaurus carried one of the strangest weapons ever evolved. Its head, the top of its skull, was protected by a thick dome of solid bone. In some individuals, that dome measured nearly 10 inches thick. For years, scientists wondered why any dinosaur would need such an unusual feature. Then one idea became especially popular. What if they used their heads as battering rams? Just like modern bighorn sheep, two pachycephalosaurs may have charged at each other, slamming their thick skulls together in battles for territory or mates. More recent studies suggest they may have preferred striking each other's sides instead of direct head-on collisions. Either way, that massive dome was built to absorb tremendous force. It wasn't just for show. Around the edge of the skull, small bony spikes and knobs made the head look even more intimidating. Imagine seeing two of these dinosaurs lowering their heads before crashing into each other with incredible force. It would have been one of the loudest battles in the prehistoric world. Sometimes, nature doesn't need sharp claws or giant teeth. Sometimes, the strongest weapon is a head built like a wrecking ball. At first glance, Stegosaurus doesn't look very dangerous. It had a small head, a slow-moving body, and spent its days feeding on low-growing plants. To many predators, it probably looked like an easy meal, but attacking one could be a deadly mistake. At the end of its muscular tail were 4 enormous spikes. Each one measured nearly 3 feet long. Scientists call this weapon the Thagomizer. Unlike the plates along its back, these spikes weren't for display. They were built for combat. Stegosaurus could swing its tail from side to side with incredible speed. A well-placed strike could puncture flesh, break bones, or seriously injure even the largest predators. In fact, some Allosaurus fossils have been discovered with injuries that perfectly match the shape of Stegosaurus tail spikes. It's possible these wounds came from failed hunting attempts. Imagine charging toward what looks like a slow, defenseless dinosaur, only to be met by 4 razor-sharp spikes swinging straight at you. One mistake could become your last. Stegosaurus may not have been the fastest dinosaur, but thanks to its incredible tail, it carried one of the deadliest defensive weapons the prehistoric world had ever seen. Most predators relied on massive jaws, or powerful arms, but Carnotaurus was different. Its arms were so tiny, they were even smaller than those of Tyrannosaurus rex. Instead, it evolved 2 completely different weapons. The first was speed, with its long muscular legs and lightweight body. Scientists believe Carnotaurus was one of the fastest large meat-eating dinosaurs ever discovered. It could likely sprint across open plains in seconds, giving prey almost no time to escape. Its second weapon sat just above its eyes, a pair of thick, forward-pointing horns. Unlike the long horns of Triceratops, these were short and sturdy. Scientists think they may have been used during battles with rivals. 2 Carnotaurus could have lowered their heads and pushed against each other to prove dominance, combined with its powerful jaws. Those horns made it an intimidating hunter. Instead of relying on giant claws, Carnotaurus used speed, balance, and brute force. It was built to chase, catch, and overpower its prey before it had a chance to react. Sometimes, the deadliest weapon isn't the biggest. It's the one that strikes before you even see it. Few dinosaurs looked more intimidating than Triceratops. Its name means 3-horned face, and one look explains why. 2 enormous horns projected above its eyes. A third, shorter horn sat on its nose. Behind them, a massive bony frill protected the back of its neck. Together, these features created one of the greatest defensive weapons in dinosaur history. When danger approached, Triceratops could lower its head and charge. Its long horns acted like giant spears, capable of delivering devastating blows. Scientists have discovered healed injuries on Triceratops skulls that match horn wounds from other Triceratops. This suggests they didn't just fight predators, they also battled each other for territory or mates. Even Tyrannosaurus rex likely had to think twice before attacking a healthy adult. A single mistake could mean being impaled by horns over 3 feet long. Instead of running from danger, Triceratops stood its ground. Its horns, its powerful body, and its enormous protective frill turned it into one of the toughest opponents of the late Cretaceous. Sometimes, the best weapon isn't speed. It's having the courage to charge straight into the fight. When most people hear the word raptor, they imagine Velociraptor. But compared to Utahraptor, Velociraptor was surprisingly small. Utahraptor was the largest raptor ever discovered. It could grow over 20 feet long and weighed nearly 1,500 pounds. But its most terrifying weapon was on its feet. Each foot carried a massive curved sickle claw, measuring almost 10 inches long. Unlike a lion's lion's claws. These weren't used for running. Scientists believe Utahraptor lifted this giant claw off the ground while moving to keep it razor sharp. When attacking, it could drive the claw deep into its prey, holding on with incredible strength while using its powerful jaws to finish the job. Some researchers think Utahraptors may have even hunted in groups, allowing them to take down animals much larger than themselves. Imagine seeing one charging toward you. Now imagine seeing several, with giant claws raised, and nowhere to run. Utahraptor proves that sometimes the deadliest weapon isn't size alone. It's having the perfect tool to strike at exactly the right moment. Some dinosaurs survived by running, others relied on armor, but Amargasaurus carried one of the strangest weapons evolution ever created, running down its neck, and along part of its back were two parallel rows of incredibly long bony spines. Some of these spines measured over 2 feet long. At first, scientists weren't sure what they were for. Did they support a sail like the one on Spinosaurus? Or were they covered in tough keratin, forming a forest of sharp spikes? The debate continues today. If those spines were covered in horn-like material, they would have created a terrifying barrier against predators, even if they supported a sail. Their enormous size would have made Amargasaurus appear far larger and more intimidating than it really was. Imagine a hungry predator approaching, only to face a dinosaur with dozens of towering spikes stretching from its neck. Sometimes, looking dangerous is enough to avoid a fight. Unlike horns or claws, this weapon wasn't designed for quick attacks. It was designed to make predators think twice before coming any closer. Millions of years later, Amargasaurus remains one of the most unusual dinosaurs ever discovered, because sometimes nature's strangest designs are also its most unforgettable.